On today's ride, I thought I would give you my thoughts on the bike I'm riding, which is the Giant Fastroad SL2. It's not carbon, it's aluminium, but that's fine. And before we start, I should point out that I am not a bike reviewer. I'm merely an old bloke new to cycling, so take it from where it comes. I'm not qualified to give you an actual review on the bike, just my thoughts having owned it for a couple of months. So today's ride, we're going up to a place called Holy Cow. It's not actually called Holy Cow. Before I offend the entire Welsh nation, it just amuses me that that's the way it looks when it's written to an English-speaking South African. Stuck in a traffic jam, can you believe it? I didn't move to Bridgend to be stuck in traffic jams. Anyway, back to the bike. So, first of all, there's a lot to be said for a flat bar road bike, particularly if you're new to cycling, looking at your first bike, or coming back to cycling after a long period away, because the flat bar definitely gives you more confidence and it's easier to ride. Flat bar bikes have come a long way over the years with really capable components, things that when I was a cyclist 36 years ago you would never have dreamt of. But a lot of flat bar bikes have quite high-end components. So going back to the bike, the next level up from this in a Giant Fastroad has a full 105 group set. That's high-end stuff for a daily ride. This one, the SL2, has Shimano Sora. Is there really any difference? Well, there's less gears, but does that make a difference? I don't think it does. Sometimes think the bikes have got too many gears. Having said that, the ride I'm on today is a ride I've done before, but I'm going the other way round. So I think there's more climbing to be done. So we'll talk again about the gear ratios at the end of the ride. One thing this bike does have is incredible brakes. It's got hydraulic discs. Can you imagine that? When I was riding in my younger days. Absolutely mind-boggling. Do they stop you any quicker? That's open to question. But the feel, the modulation, it just is so precise. It's really amazing. There's a lot of people discussing, because these fast roads have 140mm discs. A lot of people to discuss putting 160mm rotors on. Well, if you're one of them, don't bother. Really isn't necessary. All I can see ahead of me is uphill, which is a little bit disconcerting. I've never been very good at hill climbing, but if you live in Wales, hill climbing is just part of the deal. Although I do believe that it's worse in Cornwall. Right, the bike. Keep talking about the bike. This bike was an impulse purchase. I was considering a second bike. I also have a gravel bike, a Checkpoint. I always fancy having two bikes because, well, if something goes wrong with one of them, you don't want to be stuck not being able to ride. So I was looking around on the second-hand market. Amazing the prices some people think their second-hand stuff is worth. Anyway, then an advert came up for one of these. I was familiar with the Fastroad. I quite fancied the SL one before I bought my Trek. And this one was £670. But because it was the Jubilee weekend, there was 10% off. And also because it was the Jubilee weekend, free shipping. So I snapped it up. Oh, when I say snapped it up, I did think about it for a little bit, but in the end I thought it's a lot of money for a second bike, but do I want to be the guy that says, oh, I could have had a Fastroad for 600 quid but didn't do it? See, look at this sign and then tell me that at a quick glance it doesn't look like holy cow. This is another feature of Britain. One-way traffic lights. Close half the road, cause a traffic jam, and then do nothing. There's literally nothing going on here at all. I told you I wasn't a bike reviewer. Problem is, I spend too much time talking rubbish in between my comments on the bike. Anyway, back to the gears. It's without question more difficult riding this route the way I'm going today compared to the way I normally go. But at no point have I felt like I didn't have the right gear to go up the hill with my Sora group set. And the gear changing is really quick, very precise. So, do you need 105? No. Do you want 105? Of course you do. The group set on this is really only the drivetrain. The cranks and the brakes are not Shimano. I don't know that Shimano even do a hydraulic brake in their Sora range. really, the bike rides really nicely. It's nimble and agile. You can pick up a fair turn of speed going down a hill. Of course, when I got the bike, as I said, I bought it online, and the gears were all over the place. It was horrible. Of course, when you buy it online, you don't just take it back. And I started to think I'd made the wrong decision. So I spent a couple of hours on YouTube, found out how to index gears, and since then it's been as sweet as a nut. Anything I'm not happy about are the tyres. Tyres on this bike are adequate, but I ride all weather, and I have to say, these tyres scared me in the wet, and I generally don't get scared in wet weather riding. So since then, I've only ever ridden a bike in the dry. So this is interesting. It's always the problem. Somebody so impatient, they've got to get past no matter what. So I'm running the tyre pressures at about 70 psi, which I think is about right, because I am not a small person, let's put it that way. So I feel the ride is a little bit harsh, but then road bikes always are going to be harsher than gravel bikes. But because the tyres are so bad, and because I find the ride a bit harsh, I am considering changing to tubeless, so I can run lower pressures and possibly a semi-off-road tyre as well, so I can go anywhere I want. What really annoys me is the fact that bicycle tyres cost as much as car tyres. And I know you'll be thinking, yeah, but there's a lot of technology goes into bike tyres. Well, trust me, there's a lot of technology goes into car tyres too. So talking about gears, as we were, I'm quite a strong rider. Not fast, not fit, just strong. And I often find that I'm leaving the chain on the big ring when I'm going uphill without realizing it. And even then, I'm still finding that I run out of gears. So really, do you need 105 or Dura Ace? Probably not. Gives you a psychological advantage, of course. And it's certainly good for your image. But really, that's the reason you want it on your bike, because you don't think you're going to be taken seriously if you haven't got the right gear, the right equipment. It's always important to wave out at people when they wait for you, because cyclists have a bad reputation in car drivers' eyes. So whatever you can do to show a bit of appreciation will always help. The only complaint I have with the gears on this bike is that it's quite a long lever throw to move it onto the big ring. Of course, there may be an adjustment for that I just don't know about.
Morning.
Morning! And then finally the last climb home. Short ride today,